Alright, so just a quick update before I start priming and painting everything. Since I last recorded, here's a few things that I did. So first, I finished installing all of the select pine trim. I did also add some supports for all the shelves. The supports here, I believe, are just 1x4 scrap pieces of wood that I had laying around. So I went ahead and just screwed those into the studs, added some wood filler to cover the screw holes, and I did that back here with a piece of MDF. And I did it over here with some more scrap pieces of 1x4. I wasn't going to do shelves at the bottom, only because I didn't think I had enough spare MDF to make these shelves. So what I ended up doing was, since my scrap pieces of MDF are only about 9 inches wide, I just lined up 2 side by side and used that for the shelf. So what I did was I just attached a spare piece of trim at the bottom, spanning across both pieces of MDF to kind of level it out. So hopefully that's enough to keep it in place, and then there's just a 1 1/4 inch screw there holding everything together. So same thing on this side, but since this is a larger piece of MDF, I put 2 pieces of scrap wood there. We'll see how long that lasts, but I think it'll work out okay. I'm gonna have a hanging rod here, hanging rod over there, and then 2 more hanging rods, one up here and then one up there. Filled all the nail holes with wood filler, sanded everything down. Everything has caulking all over the seams. So I'm just about ready to start priming and painting. To seal the MDF, I just used some Kills 2 primer and rolled it on with a 6-inch roller meant for smooth surfaces, and used a brush for all the corners that were harder to reach. I just did 1 coat of this stuff and it actually went on pretty smooth. Didn't have to do too much sanding at all before painting it. So while my primer was drying, I decided to kill time by starting on the 4 drawers that I needed to make. I cut down a sheet of 1/2-inch birch plywood to the height of the drawers using my table saw. Once the primer was dry and sanded, I used my Wagner paint sprayer to put on a coat of Behr's Ultra Pure White in satin finish. I haven't had much luck with this sprayer, to be honest, so after 2 coats with it, I saw that I still needed another coat. So I just ended up rolling on that last coat and it was good to go. While the paint was drying, I went back to my miter saw to continue working on building the drawers. I cut the 1/2-inch plywood pieces to length. I then used my table saw to put dados in all the drawer sides. Dados are just grooves you can use to slide another piece of wood into. In this case, the dados were for the 1/4-inch plywood I would use for the bottom of the drawers. I like to put mine about a 1/2 inch up from the bottom. Since I was just using a regular Diablo table saw blade, after having a first pass, I had to adjust the guard on the table saw so that I could make the dado wide enough for the 1/4 inch plywood to fit into it. In the end, I think I passed each drawer side a total of 3 times on the table saw. I decided to run LED lights under each shelf to give the closet some lighting. I drilled holes on the cabinet walls behind the trim to keep all the LED strip and extension wire out of sight. I used a single 15-foot strip of LED lighting for this closet. I also used LED strip to wire connectors whenever I needed to extend the LED strip. I used these bad boys to help keep both the LED strip and the extension wire secure and tucked away. Now back to the drawers. To assemble them, I put pocket holes in the pieces of plywood that would be at the front and at the back. Pocket holes in the back will never be seen once in the cabinet, and the pocket holes in the front will be covered by the drawer fronts, which is another piece of wood I'll be mounting on later. I put 3 sides of the drawer together first, then slid in the 1/4 inch plywood for the drawer bottoms into the dados. Once that was in place, I put in the back piece of the drawer to finish it up, then I repeated this process 3 more times for the other drawers. For the drawer slides, I'm using 16-inch full extension ball bearing ones from Amazon. I started by installing the slides at the very bottom before working my way up. To attach the slides onto the cabinets, I just lined up the slide flush to the front of the cabinet and screwed them on. For the rest of the slides, I used a scrap piece of plywood as a spacer to get their placement. I clamped the slide in place, screwed it in, then moved on to the next one. I actually didn't record any of me installing the drawer fronts, but if you're wondering about that, I just used some more 1/2 inch birch plywood to cut them to size. Then I installed them using screws, 2 screws drove in through the back. Brad nails could work here too to install them, but you just need to fill in the brad nail holes after. For the drawer handles, I use some pretty inexpensive ones from Amazon. Once I had one handle installed and it looked good, I used a magic sponge to clean up all the pencil marks left behind from marking their locations for the handles, then installed the rest of them. I was pretty happy at this point because this was the last thing I needed to do to complete the nursery closet. My wife decorated it and we called this project a wrap. Let us know what you guys think. See you in the next one.